I found my girlfriend's texts to her ex. I'm just waiting for his inheritance, then I'm yours. I said nothing. I faked a bankruptcy notice and left it on my desk. She left me the next day. Her panicked calls started the moment I posted my new house on Instagram. I, 34 male, always thought the moment of discovery would be loud. A scream, a shattered plate, a slammed door. Instead, it was silent. Utterly, devastatingly silent. It was a Tuesday. I was working from home, syncing my files across my devices, when Evelyn's messages popped up on the shared tablet. She never bothered to log out. She was messaging Brian, her ex, the one she swore was a toxic chapter she'd slam shut. My breath just stopped. I read the last few exchanges, my heart turning into a cold, heavy stone in my chest. I felt like I'd stumbled into some messed up AITA post where the answer is screamingly obvious to everyone but the person living it. Brian, he's still talking about that inheritance all the time. He wants to buy a house, us, a future. It's nauseating. Don't lose your nerve, babe. I can't wait much longer. I won't. I'm just waiting for his inheritance, then I'm yours. Promise. I closed the tablet. The air in our apartment, the one I paid for, suddenly felt thin and foreign. I looked around at the life I thought we were building. The framed photos of us smiling on vacation, the stupid, expensive coffee machine she had to have. It was all a set, a stage for her performance. The anger I expected didn't come. What came was a chilling, absolute clarity. I wasn't dealing with a partner having doubts. I was dealing with a strategist, a predator. Hysteria felt like a waste of energy. She had a plan, so I needed one too. For the next 3 days, I was the perfect boyfriend. I made her dinner. I asked about her day. All the while I was observing. The way her eyes would glaze over when I talked about the future. The quick, hidden smile on her face when she'd get a text. She was an actress, and I was suddenly watching the behind-the-scenes footage. The betrayal was so profound, it was almost fascinating. The inheritance was real. My grandmother had passed away 6 months prior, leaving me a sum that wasn't Bill Gates rich, but it was certainly life-changing. Enough to finally get out of the renting cycle and buy a small house. I'd been so excited to tell Evelyn, to share this foundation with her. She'd clapped her hands together, her eyes wide with what I had mistaken for joy. It was just avarice. My plan was simple, deceptively so. On Friday morning, I found a boilerplate bankruptcy notice online. It looked official enough. I spent 20 minutes with a fine point pen, filling in my name, forging a case number, adding the letterhead of a fictitious law firm. I left it on my desk, partially tucked under a stack of mail, but visible enough for anyone snooping. That evening, I went for a long run. I needed the world to be just my feet on the pavement and the air in my lungs. When I returned, the apartment was still. Too still. She was gone. She was gone. On the kitchen counter where we used to leave each other notes was a single folded piece of paper. I'm so sorry. I just can't do this anymore. The financial instability is too much pressure for me. I need to be on my own and figure things out. I wish you the best. The speed of it was the only thing that truly wounded me. No fight, no discussion. Just a clean, tactical exit now that the asset, me, was supposedly worthless. It confirmed everything. I sat on the floor of my empty living room, not crying, but feeling the vast echoing space she'd left behind. It was the loneliest I'd ever felt. For a few weeks, I heard nothing. I began the process of untangling our lives, packing her things into boxes. I grieved the woman I thought she was, the future I thought we had. Then my grandmother's money cleared. The house I'd been looking at, the one I'd imagined her walking through, was still on the market. A modest 2-bedroom with a porch and a small, overgrown yard. It wasn't our house anymore. It was my sanctuary. As a cash buyer, I was able to fast-track the closing. It still took just under 3 weeks of navigating inspections, titles, and paperwork, but in the world of real estate, it felt like lightning speed. Last night, I drove to my new home for the first time as its owner. The air smelled like cut grass and possibility. I took a picture. Just me, sitting on the top step of the porch, holding a single key. The caption was simple, "New beginnings." I didn't tag a soul. I just let it float out into the ether. It took 7 minutes. My phone screen lit up, Evelyn, an incoming call. I ignored it. It lit up again, Evelyn. Then a text, then another call, then a call from a number I didn't recognize. I let it go to voicemail. It was Brian. My phone buzzed incessantly for the next hour. A flurry of panicked, confused, and increasingly angry messages. I didn't answer. I just sat on my porch, took a sip of beer, and watched the sun go down on my new life. The storm had arrived right on schedule. Update. The calls and texts didn't stop. They became a kind of frantic background noise to the tasks of moving. I saved the voicemails. They were, in their own way, masterpieces of manipulation. Evelyn started with a saccharine sweet confusion. "Hey, it's me. I saw your post. A new house? I don't understand. The notice. Call me back. I'm really worried about you." Brian's were less subtle, just guttural anger. "You played her, man. That's messed up. You think you can just lie to people like that? You owe her. You call her back and you make this right. Owe her." The audacity was breathtaking. After 3 days of this, while unpacking boxes in my new living room, I finally answered. It was Evelyn. "Oh my God, you're okay," she began, the relief in her voice so fake it was almost comical. "I was so worried. I saw that bankruptcy letter, and then you disappeared, and now you have a house? What is going on?" I kept my voice flat, calm. "You left, Evelyn." "I left because I was scared. I thought you were ruined. How could you lie to me like that?" There it was. The pivot. The gaslighting. I was now the villain for faking a financial collapse that proved she was a gold digger. Classic. "The letter you left was pretty clear," I said, cutting a box open with a knife. "You said you needed financial stability. I assume you concluded there was none to be had with me, so you left. End of story." There was a pause. I could hear her breathing, the gears turning. "That's not fair," she finally said, her voice shifting from wounded to indignant. "I invested 2 years of my life in you. In us. I helped you. We looked at houses online for months. I helped you plan." "You looked at Zillow, Evelyn. That's not a contribution?" "It is," she insisted, her voice rising. "I was a supportive partner. That house, that money, I'm entitled to a share of it. That was supposed to be our future. You don't get to just take it all for yourself." The silence that followed was heavy. I let her words hang in the air. I wanted to remember them. "Evelyn," I said, my voice dangerously quiet. I saw the texts. To Brian. Complete silence. Not even a breath. For a full 10 seconds. Then the explosion. A torrent of excuses. It wasn't what it looked like. He was just an old friend. I was being insecure and pushing her away. She was just confused. She was keeping her options open because I was being distant. "You were waiting for my inheritance," I stated. It wasn't an accusation. It was a fact. "Then you were his." She hung up. An hour later, the notification started on my Instagram post. "Brian. This guy is a liar and a manipulator," he commented. "Don't believe anything you see." And another, "Enjoy the house you stole from her." My friends started texting me, confused. "Is everything okay?" I didn't reply to them yet. I just deleted Brian's comments and blocked him. Then came the text from Evelyn, the escalation I was waiting for. Tabat, I almost laughed when I read it. "I'm talking to a lawyer. I'm going to sue you for my share and for the emotional distress you caused me by lying. You'll be hearing from my attorney." I read the text, and for the first time, a real smile touched my lips. It was perfect. She was so blinded by her own greed she couldn't see the hole she was digging. I spent the rest of the evening setting up my new Wi-Fi and methodically removing her from every account we shared. Netflix, Spotify Premium, Amazon. A digital exorcism. Each click of the mouse felt like a small, satisfying victory. The last thing I did before bed was call my old landlord about the apartment. I needed to get my security deposit back. All $2,850 of it. Update: the official-looking envelope arrived in my new mailbox. She'd actually done it. Evelyn had filed a small claim suit against me for $5,000. I read the filing, standing in my sun-drenched kitchen. The sheer nerve was almost admirable. The claim listed compensation for services rendered in financial and future planning, and emotional damages resulting from deceptive and manipulative practices. She was framing my quiet little test as a malicious scheme to emotionally torture her. But that wasn't the only problem. My old landlord had called me back, his voice thick with apology. The $2,850 security deposit had already been paid out. To Evelyn. Since her name was still on the lease when it ended, she'd gone to the management office the day after I moved out, claimed I'd agreed to let her handle it, and signed the paperwork. The landlord said it was now a civil matter between me and her. Of course it was. My pain had now completely solidified into purpose. This was no longer just about a broken heart, it was about holding people accountable for their actions. My response was methodical. First, the small claims suit. I didn't need a lawyer. The truth was my best weapon. I started a file. In it went a printout of her breakup note. Then, printouts of the text messages between her and Brian. I highlighted the key phrases. I'm just waiting for his inheritance. And I need financial stability. The narrative was clear, and I was merely the editor. Second, the security deposit. I drafted a formal demand letter. It was polite, professional, and utterly inflexible. It cited the exact clause in our lease about the return of deposits and stated that she had 14 days to return the full $2,850 to me via certified check before I would file a separate small claims action against her for theft. I sent it via certified mail and emailed her a copy for good measure. The real confrontation came out of nowhere. I was leaving my office building downtown when I heard my name being shouted. It was Brian, jogging towards me across the plaza, his face a mask of self-righteous fury. "We need to talk," he said, getting right in my personal space. He was bigger than me, an intentional act of intimidation. "We have nothing to talk about," I said, not backing down. "You're gonna make this right with Evelyn. You humiliated her. You're a psycho. You know that? Playing games like that." "The only game," I said calmly, "was the one she was playing with me, for money." He scoffed. "She invested years in you. You owe her something." "The only thing anyone owes," I said, looking him dead in the eye, "is my $2,850 security deposit, the one my ex-SO took." A smirk played on his lips. He leaned in, his voice low and mocking. "She said you told her she could have it for her troubles. Who do you think a landlord is going to believe?" His response told me everything. He wasn't just aware of it, he was proud of it. They had coordinated their story. "Thanks, Brian," I said, a genuine note of gratitude in my voice. "That's a very interesting perspective." I turned and walked away, leaving him standing there, confused by my lack of rage. The moment I got to my car, I pulled out my phone and typed an email to myself, documenting the conversation, his words, the date, and the time. Brian claimed Evelyn told him I agreed to let her have the deposit. Clear coordination and a fabricated story. It was another beautiful little piece of my file. The social fallout was messier. Evelyn had been busy spinning her tale, and I, the OP of this whole mess, was painted as the villain. I heard she was telling everyone I'd had a breakdown, faked a bankruptcy to control her, and then kicked her out. Some people bought it. My phone got quieter. It stung, I won't lie. To be so thoroughly rewritten as the villain in your own story is a unique kind of pain. But I trusted the process. The truth has a way of coming out. You just have to be patient. Final update. The day of the small claims hearing felt strangely calm. It was a sterile, unimpressive room with fluorescent lighting and worn-out chairs. Evelyn and Brian were already there, sitting together, whispering. Evelyn was dressed professionally, like a woman who was about to be deeply wronged. Brian just looked thuggish, his arms crossed, glaring at me. They thought they were in an episode of a courtroom drama where the most emotional argument wins. Evelyn went first. She gave a tearful, passionate speech about my deception and the psychological toll it took on her. She spoke of the future I'd stolen from her. It was a compelling performance. Then it was my turn. I didn't give a speech, I just presented my evidence. I walked the judge through it, step by step. Exhibit A, I said, placing the printout of her breakup note on the judge's bench. Evelyn's own words, stating she was leaving due to financial instability the day after she believed I had gone bankrupt. Exhibit B, I continued, are text messages between Evelyn and Mr. Shaw from the week prior. I read one aloud into the quiet room. "I'm just waiting for his inheritance, then I'm yours." The judge, a no-nonsense woman in her 60s, slowly lifted her eyes from the paper and looked at Evelyn. For the first time, Evelyn's composure cracked. And Exhibit C is a timeline showing Evelyn left my apartment on May 10th, and the inheritance in question did not clear my bank account until early June, weeks later. The judge didn't need much more. She dismissed Evelyn's case with prejudice, her voice sharp. "Ms. Hayes, your claim is not only meritless, it is audacious. To seek compensation for a partnership you clearly intended to defraud is an abuse of this court's time." Then she turned to my countersuit for the security deposit. Evelyn repeated the lie, claiming I had told her she could have it. The judge looked at Brian. "Mr. Shaw, were you aware of this arrangement?" Brian, trying to look helpful, nodded. "Yeah, she told me he said she could have it." The judge leaned forward. "So your testimony is that you were aware she was taking the full deposit based on a verbal agreement?" "Yeah," he said, puffing out his chest. I was then allowed to testify about my conversation with him outside my office, presenting my time-stamped notes. I explained how he'd tried to intimidate me and smugly told me their story. The contradiction between his aggressive confidence with me and his helpful boyfriend act in court was stark. The judge saw it instantly. The lie had become more damaging than the truth ever could have been for them. She ruled in my favor, ordering Evelyn to pay me the full $2,850 plus my court filing fees. Outside the courtroom, their hushed whispers erupted into a furious, sibilant argument. The united front had crumbled into bitter blame. The story of what happened in that courtroom spread faster than Evelyn's lies ever had. The mutual friends who had grown distant sent awkward, apologetic texts. "Man, I'm so sorry. I had no idea." I just replied, "No worries." I didn't have the energy for anything more. Their validation wasn't the prize. A week later, I heard through the grapevine that the public drama, coupled with his aggressive attitude, had caused problems for Brian at his job. He worked in sales, where reputation is everything. Apparently, his company wasn't thrilled about him making threats in the lobby of a client's building. My employer's security had officially barred him from the premises after the incident. The last communication I ever received was a single text from Evelyn, days after the judgment check arrived in my mail. "I hope you're happy in your stupid house all alone. You ruined my life." I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel joy. I just felt nothing. It was a message from a ghost. I deleted it, blocked her number, and went outside to my yard. It's been a few months now. The silence they left behind is no longer empty. It's filled with the sound of birds in the morning and the quiet hum of my own life. I've planted a garden. I've reconnected with the friends who mattered. The scar from the betrayal is still there. I think a small part of it always will be. But it doesn't ache anymore. I didn't need them to face some grand, cinematic downfall. I just needed them to face the natural, mundane consequences of their own choices. They weren't master villains. They were just greedy, entitled people who were so sure of their own cleverness, they never saw the simple, obvious trap they were setting for themselves. The best revenge, I've learned, isn't loud. It's the quiet satisfaction of building a better life on the ashes of a false one. It's sitting on your own porch in a house you earned, knowing you handled the worst with a calm heart and a clear head. They didn't ruin my life. They just cleared the way for my real one to begin. My fiancé declared, "I'm marrying you for stability, not love. Don't expect romance." I nodded, crystal clear. Then I gave her exactly what she asked for, a stable, empty house after I moved out. Her tears about losing the romance were deliciously ironic. Original post: I, 35 male, thought I was living a normal life. Engaged to Monica, 32, for 8 months, together for 3 years. We'd been planning a modest wedding for next spring. Then last month, after a few too many wines at her sister's engagement party, Monica decided to have what she called an honesty moment. We were driving home when she started. "You know what I love about us?" she said, staring out the passenger window. "What's that?" I asked, expecting something sweet. "We're practical. No stupid fairy tale BS. I'm marrying you because you're stable, reliable, you've got the good job, the house, the 401k. That's what matters." I kept driving, processing. "And honestly," she continued, "I'm tired of my friends judging me for being strategic. Love fades, security doesn't. I picked you because you're the safe choice, the smart choice." "Interesting," I said quietly. "Don't get weird about it, Daniel. This is what adult relationships are. I bring looks, social connections, keep your life organized. You provide stability. It works." "So you're saying you don't love me?" She sighed like I was being dense. "I care about you. But passionate love, that's for movies. I had that with my ex Antonio. Look where that got me. Broken, heartbroken. With you, I know what I'm getting. Stability. Security. No drama. And you think I should be okay with this? Why wouldn't you be? You're getting a beautiful wife who keeps your social calendar, decorates your boring house, makes you look good at company events. Fair trade. We pulled into the driveway of my house, the one I'd bought 2 years before meeting her. "Just so we're clear," she said, turning to face me. "Don't expect grand romance. No surprise getaways or rose petals. That's not us. We're practical. I'll be a good wife in all the ways that matter, keeping house nice, hosting dinners, making sure you eat healthy, but I'm not going to pretend we're some passionate love story. Deal?" I looked at her for a long moment. "Crystal clear, Monica." She patted my hand. "Good. See, honesty is better." That was 5 weeks ago. She had no idea she'd just signed her own eviction notice. Update 1. 2 weeks later. Started making moves immediately, but kept everything normal on the surface. Monica wanted practical? She was about to get a masterclass in it. First, the wedding planning. She kept pushing for venue visits, dress shopping, registry setup. I participated half-heartedly, always had work conflicts for the expensive venues she wanted to just look at. "Daniel, we need to put down the deposit for the country club," she said one evening, laptop open to the venue page. "Actually, been thinking about that. Since we're being practical, courthouse wedding makes more sense. Save the money." Her face twisted. "Courthouse? Are you insane? What would people think?" "Thought we weren't about fairy tales and romance. Courthouse is practical." "That's different. A wedding is about presentation. Investment in our social standing." "Sounds romantic to me," I shrugged, going back to my book. She fumed, but couldn't argue without contradicting her whole practicality speech. Meanwhile, I'd started some actual practical planning. Met with a property lawyer about the house. Since I owned it before we met and she'd never contributed to mortgage or repairs, she had zero claim. Got that in writing. Quietly moved important documents and valuables to a safety deposit box. Started apartment hunting. Found a nice 2-bedroom closer to work. Put down a deposit, move-in date 3 weeks out. Documented everything she'd said about our arrangement. Even recorded one conversation, legal in my state with single-party consent, where she repeated her whole marrying for stability manifesto. The kicker came when her friend Jessica got engaged to a doctor. Monica spent the entire evening at dinner going on about it. "She's so lucky," Monica sighed. "Brad absolutely worships her. Did you see the ring? 3 carats, and he's taking her to Bora Bora just because." "Sounds expensive and impractical," I said, cutting my steak. "It's romantic." "Thought romance was for movies?" she glared. "It's different when it's tasteful. Jessica deserves to be spoiled, but not you." "Well, I mean," she scrambled. "If you wanted to do something like that, why would I? We have a practical arrangement. I provide stability, remember? Romance wasn't part of the deal you outlined." She barely spoke the rest of dinner. Her sister Vanessa called me the next day. "What's going on with you and Monica? She says you're being cold." Just giving her exactly what she asked for, I said. Practical, stable, no romantic nonsense. She didn't mean it like that. She was pretty clear, actually, multiple times. "Daniel, come on. You know how Monica is. She has walls up. She does love you." That's not what she told me, and I'm respecting her honesty. The best part was Monica trying to initiate intimacy that night. I turned her down. "I'm tired," I said. "Long day at work. Maintaining that stability you value." "Are you seriously being petty about that conversation?" "Petty? No. Practical. Physical intimacy without emotional connection seems pointless. You taught me that." She stormed off to the guest room. Perfect. Made the next part easier. Update 2. The reveal. 3 weeks after her wine-fueled honesty session, everything was in place. New apartment ready, movers scheduled for Saturday while she'd be at her standing spa appointment with her mom. Friday night, she was trying on outfits for her cousin's wedding that weekend. "Which one makes me look more successful?" she asked, holding up 2 dresses. "They both look fine," I said, not looking up from my laptop. "Fine. Daniel, this is important. Your +1 reflects on you." "Actually, about that, I'm not going," she froze. "What? We RSVP'd months ago. You should still go, but I have plans." "Plans? What plans are more important than my family wedding?" "Moving." The silence was beautiful. She turned slowly, dress still in hand. "Moving? Moving where? Why would we move without discussing it?" "Not we. Me. I'm moving out tomorrow." Her face went through about 6 emotions in 3 seconds. "This is a joke." "Nope." I closed my laptop. "You wanted a practical arrangement. Well, practically speaking, this isn't working for me." "Because of what I said?" "Daniel, that was just..." I was drunk. In vino veritas, Monica. She dropped the dresses and sat on the bed. You're seriously leaving me over one conversation? Not one conversation, one truth. You're marrying me for stability, not love. That's what you said repeatedly. Well, I've decided I don't want to be anyone's meal ticket. Meal ticket? I contribute. How? You moved into my house. You don't pay rent or mortgage. You buy groceries sometimes with the credit card I pay for. Your car? I paid off the loan last year as an engagement gift. Your contribution is, what? Organizing dinner parties with my money? She was crying now. Angry tears. I make your life better. I make you look good. You make me look successful. There's a difference. This is insane. We're getting married in 5 months. No, we're not. I pulled off my engagement ring, set it on the dresser. I'm not interested in a business arrangement masquerading as a marriage. She grabbed her phone. I'm calling my mom. Go ahead. 20 minutes later, her mother Linda was on speaker, screaming about commitments and embarrassment, and, how could you do this to my daughter? Linda, your daughter explicitly told me she's marrying me for financial stability, not love. I'm simply declining that generous offer. All women want security. That doesn't mean she doesn't love you. According to Monica, it means exactly that. She was very clear. Monica grabbed the phone. Mom, he's being ridiculous. I'm gonna be homeless. You have a job, Monica. You're a marketing manager. You can afford an apartment. Not a nice one, not in a good area. Sounds like a personal problem. Saturday morning while she was at the spa, she still went, probably to rally the troops. The movers came. Only took my stuff, my furniture, my electronics, my kitchen stuff. Left all her things neatly in the empty rooms, even left the bed, since technically she'd picked it out, though I'd paid. She came home to find me doing a final walkthrough. What the hell, Daniel? Language, Monica. You took everything. I took my things. Your clothes, makeup, personal items are all here. But the furniture, the TV, mine, purchased before we met or with my money. She looked around the empty living room, her designer heels clicking on the hardwood. You can't do this. Actually, I can. My house, my stuff. Where am I supposed to live? Well, you have 30 days to figure that out. That's the legal notice period for month-to-month tenants, which is what you are since you're not on the deed and we have no lease agreement. Tenant? I'm your fiancé. Ex-fiancé, and legally, yes, you're a tenant. Her mom and sister burst through the door like a SWAT team. You bastard! Linda shrieked. How dare you humiliate her like this? I'm not humiliating anyone. I'm ending a relationship that Monica herself defined as a business arrangement. Vanessa stepped forward, trying to be the voice of reason. Daniel, this is extreme. Monica says things she doesn't mean sometimes. She meant it. She confirmed it multiple times, even told her friends, apparently. Jessica mentioned at the last dinner party how smart Monica was for choosing security over passion. Ring any bells? Monica went pale. She told you that? No, she told Brad, who told me at poker night. Apparently, you gave a whole speech at ladies' night about how you learned your lesson with Antonio and picked better this time. I particularly enjoyed the part where you called me not exciting but reliable like a Toyota. Dead silence. So yeah, I continued. I'm done being your Toyota. The notice of termination is on the kitchen counter. You have 30 days. Update 3. The escalation. The 30 days turned into an all-out war. First came the love bombing. Texts at all hours. Baby, please come home. I didn't mean any of it. I love you so much it scares me. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. When I didn't respond, she escalated to threats. I'll sue you for false engagement. You owe me for 3 years of my life. My lawyer says I have rights. Her lawyer was her friend Patricia, who watched too much daytime TV. 2 weeks in, she tried a new strategy. Started posting all over social media about our beautiful love story with old photos of us. Captions like, "True love conquers all," and "Fighting for my soulmate." Comments poured in from her friends about how wonderful we were together. She'd clearly spun some story about a small fight, so I posted my own update. For those asking, Monica and I are no longer together. She made it clear she was marrying me for financial stability, not love. I've chosen to seek a relationship based on mutual affection rather than my bank account. I wish her well in finding the practical arrangement she's looking for. Her friends started texting me immediately, half calling me cruel, half saying they knew something was off about Monica's stories. Then came the real escalation. Monica threw a dinner party in my house without telling me. I only found out because my neighbor Ted called. "Hey Dan, bunch of cars at your place. You having a party?" I drove over to find about 15 people inside. Monica playing hostess like nothing had happened. "Daniel," she announced brightly when I walked in. "Everyone, look who finally made it." The room was confused. Some knew we'd broken up, others thought we were still together. "Monica, what is this?" "It's Stephanie's birthday dinner. You remember, we planned this months ago." "We're not together, Monica, and you have to leave, all of you." Stephanie looked mortified. "Monica, you said Daniel was okay with this." "He's just being dramatic," Monica laughed nervously. "No, I'm being a property owner asking unauthorized guests to leave my house. Monica is a tenant with a termination notice. She has no right to host parties here." The guests couldn't leave fast enough. Stephanie apologized profusely. Monica's college friend Robert actually said, "Monica, what the hell? You said you guys made up." After everyone left, Monica lost it. "You humiliated me. You broke into my house. I live here for 2 more weeks and hosting parties isn't in your tenant rights." She threw a wine glass at the wall. It shattered. "That's property damage," I said calmly, pulling out my phone to record. "You'll be paying for that." "I hate you," noted. "Clean up the glass. I'm documenting this for the eviction proceedings." "Eviction? You said 30 days? That was before you damaged property and hosted unauthorized gatherings. Now it's formal eviction for lease violations." She called Linda, wailing. I could hear Linda's response through the phone. "Just come home, baby. Let him rot alone." But Monica wasn't done. Update 4, the extinction. With 5 days left on her notice, Monica pulled her final move. She called my HR department. I got pulled into a meeting with HR and my boss. "Daniel, we received a concerning call about your behavior outside of work." My stomach dropped. "What kind of call?" "A woman claiming to be your fiancé says you're exhibiting erratic behavior, possible substance abuse, and she's concerned about your mental state affecting your work." I actually laughed. "Did she give her name?" "Monica Rodriguez. She said you've been paranoid, aggressive, and she's worried you might have a breakdown at work." I pulled up my phone, showed them the eviction notice, the text where she admitted to lying about our relationship status to her friends, and the video of her throwing the glass. "We're separated. She's being evicted from my house after admitting she was only marrying me for money. This is retaliation." My boss, Jerome, shook his head. "Christ, Dan. I'm sorry. We had to follow up, you understand." "Of course, I have a lawyer handling everything if you need documentation." They were satisfied, but Monica had crossed a line. Trying to jeopardize my career? The one thing she admitted she wanted me for? Nah. I called my lawyer that afternoon. What are my options for someone making false reports to my employer? Defamation, harassment, potential restraining order. Document everything. That evening, Monica came home to find her stuff in boxes in the garage. "What is this?" "Your belongings. The house is off limits now. You can stay in the garage apartment above until the notice expires." "The garage? It has a bathroom, kitchenette, and bed. More than adequate for 5 days. You can't force me out of the main house. Actually, after your false report to my employer, my lawyer says I can. It's documented harassment. Here's the cease and desist letter. Any further contact with my employer, friends, or family will result in legal action." She grabbed the letter, read it, crumpled it up. "You think you're so smart. You think you've won. I don't think anything. I know our relationship is over. I gave you 3 years. You wasted 3 years, mine and yours. You'll never find anyone like me." That's literally the goal, Monica. She moved to the garage apartment, slamming the door so hard a picture fell off the wall. 2 days later, Vanessa called. "She's saying you're abusive? I have everything documented, Vanessa. Every text, every email, the video of her throwing glass, the HR report, everything. She's my sister. I have to take her side. I understand, but know that she admitted multiple times she was using me for money. That's documented too." Silence. "Then, she really said that? Want to hear the recording?" "No, I believe you. She's always been like this. Since Antonio left her, she's been obsessed with finding someone successful. Well, she can keep looking." Moving day came. Monica had enlisted her entire family to help. Linda made one last attempt. Daniel, sweetheart, Monica's learned her lesson. She loves you. Real love, not practical. Give her another chance. Linda, she called my HR department and tried to get me fired. The woman who wanted me for my stability tried to destroy that stability out of spite. That's not love, that's narcissism. Monica was loading boxes, refusing to look at me. Then she stopped, walked over. I did love you, she said quietly. In my own way. Your way involves seeing me as a bank account with legs. That's not fair. It's literally what you told me. Multiple times. I was protecting myself. Antonio destroyed me. I couldn't go through that again. So you decided to destroy me instead? She had no answer for that. As the last box was loaded, she turned back one more time. You'll regret this. When you're 40 and alone, you'll realize what you gave up. I gave up a business arrangement I never agreed to. I'll survive. Update 5. The aftermath. It's been 3 months since Monica moved out. Life's been interesting. First, the flying monkeys. Her friends reached out one by one, each with a different story. Monica had told them, I was abusive, Brittany. I was cheating, Amber. I had a mental breakdown, Claire. I was gay and using her as a cover, Patricia. That was creative? I sent each of them the same response. Monica admitted she was marrying me for money, not love. I ended the relationship. Everything else is fiction. Some believed me, some didn't. Didn't matter. Monica, meanwhile, went on a social media rampage, posted cryptic quotes about surviving narcissistic abuse and Phoenix rising from ashes, created a whole narrative where she was the victim who escaped a controlling relationship, until Antonio's wife reached out to me. Yeah, turns out Antonio didn't destroy Monica by leaving her heartbroken. He was married when they were together. Monica was the other woman, knew it, and was planning to get him to leave his wife. When he chose his family instead, Monica lost it. Keyed his car, showed up at his house, threatened to call his job. Sound familiar? Antonio's wife, Gloria, had screenshots, police reports, the works. When I saw her posts about you being abusive, I recognized the pattern. She did the same thing to us. Why reach out now? Because she's trying to destroy another good man's reputation. Antonio made his mistakes, but Monica was calculated. She knew he had money, knew he was married, didn't care. Gloria sent me everything. I didn't post it, but I kept it for insurance. Then, the universe delivered poetic justice. Monica started dating Trevor, a surgeon she met at a medical conference her company was promoting. She plastered it all over social media. So blessed to find real love. When you know, you know. My king treats me like a queen. Vanessa called me, laughing. You need to hear this. Apparently, Trevor was exactly like Monica. He'd straight up told her on their 5th date that he needed a presentable partner for his career, someone who understood the arrangement. She called me crying, Vanessa said, going on about how cold he was, how he only cared about her looks and social connections. I asked her, how's that different from what you did to Daniel? She hung up on me. They lasted 6 weeks. Trevor dumped her for an actual model who apparently better fit his requirements. The last time I saw Monica was at a mutual friend's barbecue 2 weeks ago. I brought my new girlfriend, Elena. We'd met at a bookstore, bonding over mystery novels. She teaches 5th grade, drives a 10-year-old Honda, and laughs at my bad jokes. When I told her about Monica on our 4th date, she nearly choked on her wine laughing. She actually said that out loud? That she didn't love you? Who does that? At the barbecue, Monica was there with some finance guy hanging on his arm, laughing too loud at his boring stories about hedge funds. She cornered me by the drinks table while Elena was in the bathroom. She's pretty, Monica said, nodding toward where Elena had been. Teacher? Yeah. How much does that pay? Like $40K? I have no idea. You downgraded. I upgraded to someone who actually loves me. Love doesn't pay mortgages, Daniel. Neither do you, Monica. Finance guy called her over right then, needed her to take a photo of him with some other finance bros. She scurried over immediately. Elena came back, slipped her hand in mine. Was that her? Yeah. She seems exactly like you described. Later, Elena was chatting with people, genuinely interested in their lives, remembering details about their kids and jobs. Monica kept trying to steer every conversation to Trevor, the surgeon, not realizing everyone knew they'd broken up. As we were leaving, Monica's finance guy was at his car, on the phone, clearly irritated. I don't care what she told you. I'm not paying for that. She knew it was a lease, not a purchase. No, we've been dating 3 weeks. I'm not co-signing anything. Monica stood there, arms crossed, fury building in her face. The exact same expression she'd had when I told her the courthouse was more practical than a country club wedding. Elena and I drove home to my new apartment. Smaller than the house, but it feels more like home than that place ever did with Monica in it. Elena made us grilled cheese sandwiches at midnight. We watched old episodes of detective shows, and she fell asleep with her head on my shoulder. "I love you," she mumbled, half asleep. "Love you too," I said, and meant it. Something I realize I never really said to Monica, not genuinely. Maybe part of me always knew what we really were to each other. Looking back, Monica did me a favor with her wine-fueled honesty. She revealed exactly who she was, what she wanted, and what she thought of me. A Toyota. Reliable, boring, practical. Well, this Toyota drove himself right to a better life. One with actual love, genuine laughter, and someone who wants me, not my stability. Someone who'd be happy in a studio apartment if we were together, not someone calculating my 401k value while pretending to care. Monica was right about one thing, though. I did give her exactly what she asked for. A practical end to a practical arrangement. No romance, no passion, no fairy tale goodbye. Just boxes in a garage and 30 days notice. The stability she wanted so badly? She lost it the moment she admitted she didn't love the man providing it. Turns out, real stability isn't about money or houses or retirement accounts. It's about trust, respect, and genuine connection. Things Monica never offered and therefore never received in return. She wanted practical? She got practical. And she's still getting it. One finance bro at a time, each one colder and more calculating than the last. Me? I got something better. I got real. And that's worth more than all the stability in the world.